Hey there, online friends. Wanted to just kind of check in with you and make sure that we're on track for everything. One thing I wanted to just mention, and I think it's pretty obvious, but uh, I want to just talk about it a little bit, is the fact that we're working in sections to get to your first classical argument essay. Okay, so when the class began, we started looking at our forum questions, and you guys picked a topic, a question that you're interested in. Okay. um, then we did a little review on what constitutes plagiarism, because we definitely want to stay away from that. Anything that's AI generated, anything that we didn't write, that we put into our essay but didn't give somebody credit through a citation, that kind of thing. And I think, as long as you're writing your own work and doing your own research, you should be fine. Just don't try to take any shortcuts. Those can be dangerous. Um, then you wrote me a proposal, okay, where you picked one of those questions on a topic and you kind of proposed it as a question, saying, look, this is something that's worth looking into. This is worth writing an essay about. Um, we did a couple of more things where we got a little further into the classical argument. What is it? What are the major components of a classical argument? Because that's what our first essay is going to be. Um, the next item is the annotated bibliography. And again, let me just remind you that this needs to be five um, academic sources, which means it needs to come through the OCCC library. And then you go into the databases. Most likely, EBSCO is going to be the most useful one. There's another one called Opposing Viewpoints, though, that may also be helpful. So for that annotated bibliography, you got to come up with five academic sources. Hopefully, you've already come up with one that you showed me in your proposal, but you're going to need to find some more. And just keep in mind, those need to be articles that are going to help you write your essay about your topic. Right? So you're going to want to find them. You're going to want to download them, email them to yourself, print them, whatever you need to do to get those articles into a place where you can look at them and read them. Okay? Because for the annotated bibliography, you're going further than a works cited. It looks like a works cited, but it's also got more information below each entry where you tell me kind of a summary of the article, and is it any good? Uh, what was the credibility of the person who wrote it? You're going to have to do a little research to get that information, and then just look at the sample annotated bibliography in Moodle, and essentially follow that format. Don't forget to put your entries into alphabetical order. Don't forget to use hanging indents, where you're going to indent the second, third, fourth line of the entry, but not the first one. The first one's going to be flush left. Little secret I'll teach you here, when you're trying to indent your second, third, fourth line, and so forth, on your keyboard, punch the CTRL button, the control key, and then hit the tab key. All right, control tab. If you do those together, then it's going to move that second line over 5 spaces. That's just what you want. If you don't hit control, very likely it's going to push everything over, and that's not what you want. So just control tab, control tab, control tab to get those hanging indents. Now, of course, once we get done with the annotated bibliography, then we're going to move right into an outline for your classical argument essay. Then you're going to do a rough draft. It'll be due near the end of the first week of September. And then we're going to do a final draft. Okay, and that's where you clean everything up, you proofread, you edit, you revise, and then finally you turn in that final draft of your classical essay. So, what I basically just wanted to say is that all the things you're working on now in Moodle are going to help you write that first essay, and that's really important. Um, Let me see here if I can figure out how to share my desktop. Haven't done this in a while. So let's see if it's here. It's not what I want. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done anything with Zoom, so I'm a little bit rusty. Um, but I can talk to you about the content that I wanted to talk to you about. Basically, you did this forum assignment where you were looking at a argument essay, and then you were finding the six major elements of it. And remember, that's going to be your thesis, your claim statement, along with your introduction, your narration section, where you give me a little background, the confirmation section, where you provide the reasons and evidence that proves that your claim is true. You will then move into an argument, counter argument, where you're going to make some concessions that, the other side of your argument, there may be some things that are true. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that refutation counter argument, but I think it's important because it makes you more believable. No one's right 100% of the time. So, what you're basically saying to your reader is, look, I know there might be some exceptions, but for the most part, my position is the correct one. And then you move into your conclusion. So, that's what you did in that forum assignment. The annotated bibliography, which is coming due, remember, you're going to take that topic that you figured out. You're going to write a thesis statement for it. And then you're going to just sort of outline what you're going to do with your sources. In other words, you're going to have your sources just like a works cited page. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. There's no thesis statement on the annotated bibliography. This is just simply a list of your sources. So let me be clear about that. But in addition to listing your sources, and there should be 5 of them, then you're going to summarize what those sources said and give some kind of indication on whether you think it's a good source or how you might use it. Okay. And again, that is really going to be a helpful thing when you start writing the outline and then the first draft, because you're going to need those sources, but you're going to need to annotate them first. You want to review in your book page 619 through 620, kind of helping you remember how to find the thesis in an essay. And you're going to have to write one yourself as you begin this essay. So don't forget that your research question, the one that you did for the proposal, is not going to really be a thesis statement. What you're going to do is answer that proposal question in the form of a thesis statement. And that's what you're going to be using for your outline and your rough draft. As you're thinking about your thesis statement, just ask yourself, what is the topic that I picked to write about? Is it there's a bunch of them in that list. Video games as a sport. Should athletes be paid in college, just like they are in the pros? There was some health questions, some energy questions, whatever it was. I would, write that topic down on a piece of paper to remind yourself what you're writing about. And then think about, what's my unique position on this thesis statement? What am I going to say about it? A couple of things there. That becomes your thesis statement. And ideally, you want one sentence. Sometimes you might have to break that into 2 or 3, but one is kind of the ideal. And again, make sure you're looking at that argument outline template and following it. That's going to kind of be your guide. You probably know that the school will be closed on Labor Day, Monday. Not going to affect you guys too much, but just know that. You're going to kind of need to keep working on this during Labor Day and shortly thereafter, um, because that classical argument outline is going to be coming due. And then, of course, you're going to eventually write a rough draft and a final draft. So, I just kind of wanted to tell you what you probably already knew, but hopefully that maybe made a few things more clear. Um, Again, make sure your thesis is arguable. It's something that somebody could argue with, and that you are talking about your position in that thesis statement. Um, I think that's about it. The main thing is you want to just keep working on these pieces as we go. Don't get too far behind because it can really snowball on you. But I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with as you get into your outline and your rough draft. And I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day. Thanks, guys.